How do you take your tea?
I won't disclose how many sugars, but generally somewhere forgotten about on a side
Double
and
figures.
going cold.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come and speak to us today here at Catalyst. The first thing I want to know is who are you and what do you look after, but give us a bit more than you can get from a LinkedIn profile.
So my name is Dr. Nicola Harding. I'm a criminologist and I sit in the arena of fraud and financial crime prevention more broadly. Really, I'm all about storytelling and how we can bring lived experience into understanding our vulnerabilities, how crime happens, and then ultimately do everything we can to try and prevent it.
On that note, what has been your biggest takeaway so far from Catalyst?
I think the thing that excites me about Catalyst is that there is that let's move beyond tick box compliance, that we just because something's always been done one way or because it's how it's been legislated, that doesn't mean that that's the way it should stay, that we need to move with the times and the times are moving, and that we should think outside the box and come together to collaborate and look at new ways of doing compliance that meet the challenge that we've got now and in the future.
What big change in compliance looking forward are you most excited for?
I might be a little bit contrary to what other people have said because there's a lot of warnings about AI and how vulnerable we are because of it. But I think there's a real promise with tools like AI because we've got to remember that they're tools. They're tools that criminals are using and they're tools that we should be using as well. So I think the thing that I'm most excited about in the future of compliance is how we can take technology like AI and others that are emerging and really use them in smart, innovative ways so that we can have the future where we don't really have to think about the harms, that compliance is something that when it's done well, most people should never have to think about it. And I think we can use these emerging tools to get back to that where we're not having to constantly be thinking about compliance and regulations, but actually we can sit in the comfort of knowing that they're there and they're protecting us.
What is your bold out there prediction for the future of financial crime and financial crime prevention?
I'm always the bearer of bad news. As a criminologist, I'm always going to be the one with the negative reality check here, is that fraud and financial crime is more than 40% of all recorded crime in the UK. We've got similar stories globally. The challenge and the harm that comes from financial crime is not going away. And I don't think that's bold. I think for everyone working in the industry that they know and understand that. I think what we need to do is be bold. I think that the flip here is that we need to move towards rethinking who we think the criminals are and what we think they're up to. We've got to remember now that the most recent attacks that we've had for things like Marks and Spencers, for example, the young people that have been arrested are young people. They're aged 17 to 21. They are the iPad generation. They didn't learn technology at school. They were immersed in technology when holding smartphones in their prams as toddlers. They aren't learning that world, they live in it. And we need to be bold and to create a compliance landscape that is responsive to this new context. So I think overall the steps that we need to take are the bold ones of doing something differently to meet the changing environment that we're in.
What kind of practical things could a chief compliance officer here or somebody in a compliance team here, what should they be doing actively to push the needle in the right direction?
Just be really good at the basics for one. Make sure that all your bases are covered, and that can sound really simplistic, but I think when you've got so many different pressures, regulation changes, it's a really difficult job to work in compliance at the moment. But just go right back to your basics. Make sure that the things that you know work well are working well and don't make any assumptions. And one of the ways in which you can do that is by being your own customer. So we talk about kind of know your customer checks, and we talk about, monitoring and compliance in that respect. But a lot of the times when I stand in the room as the bearer of bad news, as the criminologist talking about crime, I'm asking people who work in financial institutions, when did you last on board into your bank or into your financial institution, when did you last go through that user experience? And quite often the answer is never. So being able to be really good at what you do, have those basics covered, means not only knowing your customer but being your own customer and knowing that journey inside and out.